We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Vikings Uncensored. We're on to episode 7. We've made 7 episodes now.
7 episodes in.
Lucky number 7 this week. And, we got a lot to talk about today. Of course, a little thing happened this last weekend, calling an NFL draft. You might have heard of that. So we're going to hit the results on that kind of heavy. But again, I'm Rhino. With me as always, my co-host Lance. How you doing today there, Lance?
Good. I couldn't be more happier.
Yeah, I'm real pleased with how the draft shook out for us. You know, there was some pretty good stuff. We're going to go over that here in just a minute. So I guess without any further ado, we'll get rolling here. We're going to start off with some of the just overall NFL news, and then we'll get deep dive into some more, mainly the Viking stuff, and kind of go from there. We've got what the hell back again this week.
Will be no, where are they now this week? We'll hit that next week again.
Yeah. But the what the hell that for this week, it's something that is going to be near and dear to most Vikings fans' hearts. So we'll touch on that when we get to it. But first off, kind of some overview of the big hitters early on Thursday night in the draft. We all knew who pick 1 and pick 2 are going to go. Of course, Trevor Lawrence goes to Jacksonville, and Zach Wilson went to the Jets. And that is if his mom lets him stay out long enough to play Monday Night Football, because he looks like he's 12.
He does. He looks like a little kid for sure.
But so anyway, those two went there. Then I'm usually not one to brag, but if you go back and look at, like, I believe it was episode 3, maybe right after San Francisco made the trade to number 3,
you called this,
and the automatic smoke was Mac Jones.
Yep.
I said on this show it's going to be Trey Lance.
And you said, hear me right now.
I said, mark it down. It's on. Yep. It's on tape. If I'm wrong, you can hit me on it later. Well,
you called it.
Suck it, Mel Kiper.
I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Hello. Yes, I'm talking to you. Now that I got your attention, I want you to know that I think you are awesome. And I don't mean just like a little bit awesome. You are like the Mount Everest of awesome.
So, Trey Lance went 3rd to San Francisco. And then, like we kind of figured, if San Francisco didn't take Mac Jones, he was going to fall a ways. And he did. He fell down to 15.
Right to where the Patriots wanted him.
And right there, who we figured would take him if he was still on the board. So
Darth Belichick.
Darth Belichick got his quarterback to more or less
the dark side, Mac Jones,
replace Brady, and then and got a kick out of when they showed the footage of Mac Jones going up to the stage. He had that Vince McMahon walk. He was
Yeah, he must have been pissed.
I'll finish the sentence for him. Quarterback, Alabama. Mac Jones, the Nick Saban, Bill Belichick connection. Look how quickly he is moving his way down that tunnel. Louis Riddick, you are smiling.
No, look. The big dog daddy of the WWE, the chairman of the board, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I wouldn't if I was going to New England.
Going to New England and work with Belichick, I'd be happy too. But I'm guessing he believed the smoke that he was going to go 3, and oh well, things happen, kid. One that kind of annoyed me early on. The Chicago Bears traded up from number 20 to jump a couple spots.
This pissed off Ted a lot as well.
Oh yeah, and Ted Glover's still in mourning over this. I know.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
He is.
And we feel your pain.
Pick by Chicago, though, honestly.
We feel your pain, Ted, but Chicago trades up, jumps up ahead of a few teams who were interested in to get Justin Fields, including reportedly us. The Vikings,
right.
If he was on the board at 14, we would have taken him the way it sounds.
I think a lot of us fans would have been like, yeah, we got to take him or take the best deal available anyway.
And the way it sounds, we tried to get up as high as number 7 to take him, but Detroit wanted, a pretty good haul to move up there, and we determined it was too much to give up. So,
right. I also heard we were trying to move up to get Slater too, as well, there towards the 9th or 10th pick.
Yeah. So, but that was the thing. I listened to Rick Spielman talk yesterday, and they'd asked him about some of that stuff, and he said, yeah, I mean, we made several calls trying to trade up, here and there.
The asking price was just too much.
Yep. So, and, then another one that's going to affect Minnesota is Penei Sewell fell all the way to Detroit at number 7.
Another good pick by a division rival.
So now we're going to have to deal with him for quite a while. So, I guess we'll see how good he actually turns out.
It's going to be really interesting to see how Sewell and our pick, how their career trajectories go.
Yeah. So, those are the real big hitters. Of course, with us, we had pick 14. We tried to trade up a couple of times. When it came to 14, the Jets traded with us. So we traded back to 23 and gained two extra third-round picks. And the Jets took...
The only time we traded back in the entire draft.
Right. The Jets took Elijah...
I am boggled.
Yeah. The Jets took Elijah Vera Tucker, who, was somebody we had on our target list, or at least, a lot of the...
I like Tucker.
But, he's going to project more to a guard. In the NFL. So,
and with the way things shook out, I'm okay.
Yeah. So, and then when it got down to, 17 where the Raiders picked, we thought, crap, here goes Darrisaw to the Raiders. No, they took Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama over
the Raiders. They always know something everybody else doesn't, apparently.
Well, they think they do.
Yeah, right.
This is almost kind of like the Justin Jefferson thing last year, where we thought for sure he was going to be gone when the Eagles picked, and they took Jalen Reagor and left Justin Jefferson sitting right there for us.
The stars have aligned for us the last 2 years in this first round.
Yep. So Spielman worked his Las Vegas voodoo magic or whatever it was, and somehow or another moved back 9 spots and still got the guy that we were probably going to take at 14
anyway. Stepped up to the craps table, and he won big.
Yeah, he pulled a rabbit out of his hat or out of his ass or wherever the rabbit came from.
Here's the wand, and here's the trick, Jimmy, you may have never seen. Borrow top hat, magic gesture, 2 taps, and out of the hat comes a rabbit.
We don't need to get into that, but anyway, so yeah, so with when we came up on pick 23, like we've mentioned, we took the guy that both Lance and I pretty much had decided that we wanted, and was
between Slater and Darrisaw for sure, and we got the guy that we wanted, and we got
Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech at pick 23, to fill the left tackle hole.
74 yards and a touchdown. He's been fantastic.
Back to throw, throwing short into the flat and complete to Herbert. Moving across the 10-yard line, taking.
3rd down. 4-man pressure. Hooker's got to fling it deep across the. A lot would be forgiven. Work to do for Hendon Hooker. He'll set up the screen. Herbert has it. Gets a block.
All-purpose yards per game. He's not getting enough love nationally. He'll get another carry. He's going to bounce outside. Keep on an action-packed defeat at North Carolina, 56-45 last weekend. And here's Hooker. Hooker off to the
line. It's great rivalry dating all the way back to the days of the Big East Conference. Hooker.
Opportunities for Trey Turner.
4 straight plays of at least 10 yards here for the Hokies. And 14 for the Hokies. And Hooker. And a handoff.
Stays on the field, so their defense does not get wore out throughout this game.
Yeah, how many times we heard that around the country this year.
And, good value on him. I mean, everybody figured he was going to be gone by pick 15, and we got him at 23. So
we got it right.
Yeah,
we got it right.
And then I've heard some people talking on, well, he gives up on plays every once in a while or whatever, and that's why he fell. If you look at Darisaw last year, he gave up 0 sacks and 0 pressures. To me,
I've heard a couple of different numbers. I've heard of 1 sack. I've heard 0 sacks, but
yeah. But regardless, I mean, he didn't give. He did really well, and that to
did his job.
That to me doesn't sound like a guy that's given up on plays.
Right.
So I'm real happy with that. We, left tackle was probably the most glaring need we had on this team.
Yeah.
And we filled it in the first round. I got to give.
And we picked up some picks in the process.
Yep. Which we parlayed into our next pick with the second pick in the 3rd round. We didn't have a 2nd round pick going in. We all figured we were going to either trade back to get into the 2nd round or package and trade up.
And Rick blew a lot of smoke the day before, but honestly, the boards fell in our favor. So,
yep.
I mean,
and
he didn't have to trade back up in the 2nd round.
No, and here again, that was what, Spielman had said last night was that, they had actually tried to go back up into the 2nd because there was a lot of guys that they wanted that were still available, but the asking price again was too high.
Right.
So they look at the board and then there was enough guys, that they liked. So they stood pat, and then when it came to the 3rd round, we had the 2nd pick in the 3rd round and we took quarterback Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M.
4th and goal. Mond with time. Now looking to extend it. Spins free. Got to get rid of it. To the end zone. Wow, what touchdown. What a catch by Christian Kirk. How did he pull that off? Mond will run the option on 2nd down. Mond keeps it. 1st down and more. Running away from Cowboy defenders. Kellen Mond is in the clear and in the end zone. 67 breathtaking yards.
Mond to put it in the air. Gets flushed from the pocket. On the run. Uncorks one. And that one is to Jamon Osmond. And he's got it at the 1. What a catch and a 40-yard scrambling strike.
Tom, this throw is stupid. Look at this throw.
It's a keep for Kellen Mond, and he's got the 1st down and more. Kellen Mond explodes to the open field. Touchdown, Aggies. What a start.
Just under 9 to go. Mond hit. Releases the ball, and it's Watermeyer for the touchdown again.
Making me a bet.
I really like this pick.
There again, that's another one that, we had discussed on the pre-draft show that, there'd been a lot of rumblings that the Vikings really liked the kid, and it was potentially somebody that we were going to be targeting, if we didn't get a Lance or a Fields, early on.
And the way the media has been handled during this whole process has been almost perfect, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
They said what they needed to say. They put it into perspective for everybody. He's not going to start this year. He's going to sit behind Kirk.
Not unless something happens to Cousins, So.
Right. So, I mean, it's all there. I mean, they handled it great.
Yep.
So,
and Mond, he's gotten better every year that he has played. he was the number 2 recruit in the country coming into college behind Tua Tagovailoa, or
Right.
2-yard Tua. But he's a little bit streaky. He can run hot, he can run it, and then run cold.
I like the fact that he's a 4-year starter.
Yeah.
So he's got that experience.
He's a 3-year starter. He's a junior.
You dumbass.
Oh, he's a junior.
Yeah.
You're a dumbass.
Okay. My bad.
But regardless, like I said, he will run hot and cold. He does need to work on his accuracy a little bit. He's
got a little bit of a unorthodox throwing motion.
Yeah, but there's a lot of that stuff is all correctable, and when he's not going to be pushed into service right away. It's
and
all
the kid
stuff
wants to get better.
He does.
He's a bookworm. So
yep. They were saying. Yep, they were saying when Texas A&M went on road games, he would, on the plane ride home, he would go up and sit next to the coach, and they would start breaking down film from the game they just played.
Right.
And he's a guy that's in the workout rooms all the time. Said that they basically had to tell him to get the hell out and go home at the end of the day, because he was in there working, hard, working, trying to get better. I'm
liking everything I hear about this
I
guy.
do too. He's a good leader. His teammates love playing with him from all accounts.
And the thing that he brings he's almost the polar opposite of Cousin, because he's able to extend plays, work on the improv, and make things out of nothing, which is what this league is asking for right now.
Yep. Now he's not one of those quarterbacks that at the first sign of trouble, he's just going to tuck it and run. I went and watched a bunch of film on him after we made the pick, and he'll step up in the pocket. He'll stay there with pressure in his face and try to deliver the throw. And he can sling it. He's got a real good arm.
And he's not afraid to take off and tuck it, and take it 20, 30 yards down the field on his own.
Right. He will if he has to, but he's not looking to do that first, like a Lamar Jackson or to an extent like Trey Lance or anything like that. He's a guy he's a thrower first, but if he needs to be, he can take off and run with it. And he does, he's got good speed, good mobility. He's able to improvise, all stuff that Cousins struggles with, so.
Right.
Now, after all the pick stuff, there was a little minor firestorm about this. Robert Griffith III was on a podcast. I forget who it was with. It really doesn't matter which one it was on, but they had asked him about, how Kirk Cousins was going to handle, the fact that the Vikings drafted a 2nd-round quarterback, and he basically didn't hold anything back, and RG3 is probably a little bit salty with Kirk because Kirk took his job in Washington, but just because he's salty doesn't mean he's wrong.
No, I think there's a little bit of truth to this for sure.
Yeah. He talked about how, Kirk probably, Kirk's going to go out and say the right things and everything else in public, but, behind closed doors, he's going to be pissed as hell about this because he doesn't like competition.
I hope he's sweating.
Yeah.
I hope this lights a fire under his ass.
He has a tendency to, go through streaks during the season where he'll start off real cold. I mean, look at the first 6 games last year, he was putrid.
A lot of those games can be pinned right on his play. So,
yep. So we'll see how this goes. Like RG3 said, Kirk's in there just collecting the checks and
cashing checks,
bringing it in, bringing his team to 8-8 and 7-9 and da, with 2nd highest paid quarterback in the league, and we're a 500 team.
He doesn't give up.
Granted, that's not all on Kirk, and I know there's people going to say, "Oh, you're just bashing Kirk." No, Kirk's a good quarterback. I'm not going to fault him for that, and there are things out of his control. But
I question his passion sometimes.
Yeah, I think he's in it for the money. He's not in it for the team. He's kind of made that blatantly clear. But now, with this, I think it might have been kind of a little bit of a notice from the organization too, hey, we wanted to work with you to, try to clear up a little cap space and maybe extend you out another year or two, beyond this. And you said, no, thank you. I'm just going to ride this out. So, okay, well, we just drafted your potential replacement here. So.
Right. Makes no sense to get upset.
Yeah.
Kirk ain't doing nobody no favors. So.
No, I mean, we all know the first time Kirk throws an interception, there's a certain section of the fan base that's going to start screaming for Kellen Mond to come in and play. But, as long, ideally Mond isn't going to play this year. He'll sit behind, he'll learn.
The only way Mond sees the field is if Kirk bombs or gets injured.
Yeah. And Kirk's been extremely durable over his career. So, hopefully that's not the case. But
and Zimmer doesn't like controversy either. So
no, but the backup quarterback is always the most popular player on the team, it seems like.
True.
So
it's true. Yeah.
So, but anyway, we can talk about Kirk all day. So we'll kind of move on here. The next pick in the third round that we had was linebacker out of the University of North Carolina.
I love this pick.
Chaz Surratt. He's a converted quarterback. He's only played linebacker like a year, maybe 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Something like that.
2 years,
but,
I believe.
I
might have been wrong on the Mond, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 years from Surratt.
Okay. It isn't very long anyway. I know he came, when he came into college, he was a quarterback, but they converted. I think he got hurt and he went to the coach and said, hey, coach, what can I do to help the team? I'm willing to move over to defense, do whatever. So they moved him to linebacker. And I mean, he's kind of an Anthony Barr type as far as skill set wise.
He reminds me a lot of a Ben Lieber, but more of a playmaker, honestly.
Yeah, he's a little more raw, but he's a good hitter. He's instinctive. Quarterbacks,
I've been watching tape
former quarterback sitting back there, he can kind of diagnose how the play is going from the defense, so, which is always
it helps him as the plays develop. He can see it all in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've been watching tape on Surratt since last night. Just him in game, and the kid has a knack for being in the scuffle every single play.
Yeah,
he's right around the ball all the time, and he does know. I mean, he knows how to go in there and get a sack, and he can take it away. So I'm okay with this kid, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to the next level.
Yep, he's honestly one guy I hadn't really looked at a whole lot before we drafted him, but from everything I see, I'm excited about having him on here, and we'll see how he goes. But
yep.
Then the next pick, still in the third round, we ended up with a really good value here. I think, a guy that was at one point in time was talked about as a potential late first round pick.
Right.
He did, have a knee injury during the season, which slowed him down a little bit. And I think that's probably why he dropped, just because
we touched base on this guy too before.
Yep. But we got Wyatt Davis, guard out of Ohio State.
Nasty.
And there for quite a while, he was everybody's consensus number one guard on the board.
And the reason why he dropped is because of that knee injury, And the
I
thing
think
is,
so.
Is he played through that and still had a good year.
Mm-hmm. He's
now he claims to be 100% healthy.
Yep, and he's another one. He's got some nasty to him. He's got, he's a bigger guy.
I believe he plays the right side and you slide Cleveland over to the left.
I've heard both. There's talk that, left guard to right guard really isn't that big of a deal either way.
It's just opposite directions.
Yeah. So, I mean, he and Davis has played both. So realistically, I think it's going to come down to, OTAs and training camp. They're going to probably flip-flop them back and forth and see who does better where.
These two guys alone, Darisaw and Davis, are going to bring out the best that anybody has seen out of that offensive line in years.
Well, and that's the thing. At least on paper, we bitched about the O-line for years around here, and with good reason.
Yeah.
But, and we said, well, yeah, we don't address the O-line. We don't do this. Well, this year we finally did it. And I got to give as much as we bag on Spielman too. I got to give him credit for realizing where
Spielman nailed this draft as a whole.
Yeah, but realizing where the biggest holes were and hitting those things.
Way to listen, Spielman, for sure.
Yep. So, and then after Wyatt Davis, we made Mike Zimmer happy got Patrick Jones, the second defensive end out of Pitt.
Yep.
You know, now I was reading some stuff this morning. They had some comparables on to, you know, who he kind of projects at. The comparable I saw was B-Rob, actually, Brian Robinson.
Okay.
You know, and so, I mean, if we can get a player that's, you know, a caliber of what B-Rob was when he was here.
B-Rob was more of a pure pass rusher than anything.
Yeah.
You know, but he was a hell of a leader.
And that's the thing, you know, so, you know, if we get any even similar production out of Jones that we had out of Robinson, it's going to be a good pick, you know.
Oh yeah. Yep. He complimented Allen really well on the other side.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, he was a hell of a leader, you know, great locker room guy, everything else kind of thing. So that was it for day 2. And then when we rolled around into day 3.
See, now day 3, I kind of missed. I was busy all day that day, but I did obviously catch the recaps and went back and did my studying. But
yeah, so there was, you know, here again, we started hitting more depth guys really than, you know, which is what you realistically should be doing in the later rounds.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we were all sitting there when the 4th round started. It's like, okay, we're coming up to pick up. Spielman's going to trade back and get, you know, 47, 7th
I think that was picks. A lot of expectation.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure Rick must have watched our breakdown of his late round picks that we did on the pre-draft show, because this is the first time I can't remember how long.
I can't remember.
Spielman did not trade back in the middle rounds.
I think Zimmer went in there and he cut all the phone lines. I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even during the process, Rick was kind of tossing shade at himself, you know, talking about trading back for another 20 picks. I mean, it was funny because he was actually poking fun at himself.
Yeah, because everybody knows that, well, and Rick's well aware of it too, that there's been all the jokes and the memes and all that other stuff about all that stuff. But
I honestly, Rick, I would give you a good pat on the back this year. You did a hell of a good job, man.
Yeah. But so anyway, the starting off in the 4th round with our first pick in the round, we took Keene Nwangwu, I think is how you say
running
it.
Back, right?
He's a running back out of Iowa State.
Speed demon.
Yep. Now he's, I think
4.340.
Yeah, I think the reason why we probably drafted, because he's also got real good kick return ability. So I'm guessing this is probably gonna spell the end for our buddy Abdullah Oblongata.
Get him out of here.
I mean, you know, he's never really he's done nothing for us, really. I mean, he's
had like 4 splash plays.
Yeah,
you know,
and
3 years that he's been here.
And even in the kick return, you know, he'll get 10, 15 yards maybe, but he's never broken one. Even
he's had one. He's had one decent return. Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise,
and that was last year.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a, you know, open
field
the ball. We're going to run 10 yards and fall down.
Yeah.
Or
let's get some electricity back there again.
Yep. So, you know, I think that's where Nwangwu is going to kind of project as Zach is taking over the Abdullah spot. And you know,
Osborne, get his
and running for you know, potential RB3 anyway.
Change of pace back.
Yeah, you know, he's not going to see the field a lot as a running back probably unless you show something in training camp, you know, that he can maybe, you know, with his speed and stuff, maybe they can, you know, flex him out and run some screens and stuff with him or something, you know, we'll see. Right. Then with our next pick, this is one I liked. I watched some tape on this kid, and he was actually one of my higher ranked defensive backs, you know, that I had him kind of on my wish list.
Mm-hmm.
But we got Cameron Bynum, safety or / cornerback out of San Diego State. Now, you know, he's played both in college. Now, when
I think it translates better to a safety, honestly.
Yeah, and that's when Rick turned the card in, you know, to draft him, we drafted him as a safety.
Right.
You know, so he's kind of that tweener type, you know, kind of a J-Ron Kersing who, you know, I think they'll use him a lot like in the big nickel packages and things like that where he can play both.
Big slot corner as well if needed.
Yep, but you know, he's going to project, you know, like I said, into safeties where they're anticipating putting him. You know, there again, he's going to sit behind Harrison Smith, you know, if you're going to learn from somebody to play safety in the NFL, Harrison Smith's not a bad guy to learn from.
Right.
So, you know,
if you haven't seen his draft celebration tape, go check it out. It's pretty good.
I think I'll try to throw it in.
Pop it in there.
I'll see if we can pop it in, because it was pretty cool when he got the call. So
it's nice to see that out of a pick.
Yep. So then we move on with our next pick. This was also a fourth rounder. This was our third fourth rounder. We picked up Janarius Robinson, defensive end from Florida State.
Developmental guy, lots of a big wingspan for sure.
Yep. Like I said, he's going to need some tooling and some, learning and stuff like that.
Zimmer likes his, and Patterson too. They like their long, lengthy guys.
And that was another thing Rick had said, when they were talking about both Robinson and Jones, he said, we have a specific thing we look for our defensive ends. He said, you go to practice and training camp, you look out there. He said, all the guys pretty much look the same when they're out there. They like those big, tall, lean, long arms, spast.
Yep.
And, Robinson is good in the pass rush. He's going to need a little work in run defense, but you run him.
Honestly, you lay it in Patterson's hands and you hope for the best, because he's turned out a lot of good athletes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you run him maybe in some sub packages, passing downs, things like that, rotate him in and out.
Yep.
Get him some experience, and we'll see what we got.
As of right now, Weatherly's penciled in at the starter, but we'll see what happens.
And I've seen some kind of projections where Robinson is kind of a Weatherly-esque type player. So, we'll see how it goes. Then with our next pick, we took a wide receiver out of Iowa.
I like this pick.
Emir Smith-Marset. Or Emir, I'm not quite sure how you say that.
I think he could have went a little bit higher than where he went.
Yeah. And here again was a guy I hadn't really researched a whole lot, but
got a lot of speed as well.
He's got a lot of speed. He's got returnability too, which I think is another reason why we brought him in.
I think he's an upgrade over what we have as far as our number 3 at wide receiver, but we'll find out.
Yeah, time will tell on that. When you start getting into these later round guys, I'm not going to make any bold predictions with them until we actually know. We get into OTAs and camp and stuff, and we see these guys actually out on the field with pads on, at the NFL level.
Right.
Then, we can maybe start getting a little better idea of what they can do for us.
Out.
Right. So then after Marset, we took tight end out of Central Missouri, Zach Davidson.
Converted tight end.
Yep. He
played punter.
Yeah, he was a punter to begin with. So technically we drafted a punter it was in the 5th round. But
maybe he'll play both. Next decade.
Yeah, so he'll be on the special teams and whatever. But there again, he's more of a developmental. He projects more as a blocking type tight end than a pass catcher, I think.
It's crazy.
Which
fucking punter.
A punter is a blocking tight end now,
right?
Whatever, I guess. But here again, it's late round guys, so you pick it on potential and things like that. And
I think this tight end is probably our biggest reach, but I would, prove me wrong, motherfucker.
Yeah. So, and there again, we'll see kind of what we see with him. Then the final pick, this was our 6th round pick. And I think, honestly, this may be the steal of the draft that we got.
I think so too.
Is Jalen Twyman, defensive tackle, 3-tech out of Pittsburgh.
Dude's probably still crying today.
Yeah, if you saw the phone call, that go on the Vikings.com had every one of the calls to the players that got drafted, and Twyman got talk. He was a little emotional. We'll put it that way. He was. I
think Ryan said it best when I talked to him earlier today. Why he probably was like that. I'll let you tell him.
he was by most people's boards was projected, third, fourth round. And, he was still sitting there when we picked in the sixth
round.
I'm guessing he was probably starting to get concerned that he wasn't going to get drafted for some reason or another,
right.
And maybe he's just an emotional kid too. I don't know, but
just thankful. You could tell.
Yeah, he was really thankful
for being taken.
And like I said, he was literally in tears on the phone. And then Rick gets off the phone with him. He's like, "Man, no, I feel like I have to cry."
This guy, you put up big time stats.
Yeah, he's got, here again, that this is a guy
he blew his pro day basically, and that's why he fell so far.
Yeah, but you look at his stats in college and stuff. He's good at getting at the quarterback.
10.5 sacks in one season, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah. So
from the defensive tackle position.
So, maybe this is the guy we've been looking for ever since basically Kevin Williams left, a guy.
And he's coming here with one of his defensive brothers out of Pitt. So,
yep.
I mean,
so he'll be playing right next to one of his old teammates. So that's kind of nice too for him. But I'm excited to see what this kid can do, because I was pretty high on him. He was another guy that I had kind of pegged us for targeting. So
he's a little undersized, but he's got a lot of strength.
Yeah. So. And here again, another kid that looks like he's about 12.
Yeah.
But I guess the older we all get, the younger these kids look coming out of college too. But
don't get in.
So, but that wraps up our draft picks anyway. So now we started up something last week with the pre-draft show. We had thrown a few commercials in back and forth, a couple of shows, and you guys had, we got real good feedback. You guys like the commercial stuff like that.
Everybody loves a little nostalgia.
Right. So, last week we decided, what kind of commercials go best with football. We said beer commercials.
Beer commercial.
Last week we did the Bud Light swear jar. Now this week we got a classic one. This is back from I think 1993 or something like that.
Yeah, it's back a ways.
But we have Miller Lite had a campaign back in the day that they would combine, where they're talking about combining great taste and less filling. So then they would combine other stuff.
Right.
So this was one of my favorites out of that group. It was the Miller Lite full contact golf commercial. So give it a watch.
Yeah, golf.
Football.
Golf.
No. Football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf.
Yeah!
We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this is Davis teeing it up. Here's the drive. It is blocked! Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste and less filling, you can combine anything. Oh, he's got daylight going for the green. Here's the putt. There's the blitz. It's good! Yeah!
Tough hole. Good beer.
Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
All right. Hope you guys like that commercial. Like I said, that was one of my favorites that we from back in the day. So, we're going to keep doing these. I like going back and seeing these. And I think, we've got some pretty good feedback. So we'll keep it rolling for a while anyway.
Right.
So now we covered all the draft picks. So now we're going to move on to the undrafted free agent players that the Vikings picked up on Saturday evening, Sunday morning kind of thing. The first one that we took, the name might sound familiar to some of you guys who've been watching the NFL for a while.
Minds. Yep.
Blake Prohl, wide receiver out of East Carolina.
Ricky Prohl's son.
Yep, his dad was Ricky Prohl, who was also a receiver. He played for a bunch of teams. He played for Arizona, Seattle, Chicago, the Rams when they were in St. Louis. Played quite a while in Carolina. That's kind of where he's probably most known for. And then he also played a year with Indianapolis, I believe.
Okay.
So, here again, hadn't seen a lot of tape on him. One thing I did like when I saw is that Prohl had put out a tweet after the Vikings picked him up, that said basically been doubted on every level ever since I started this journey kind of thing, watch
Chip on
out.
your shoulder, yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity, Minnesota. So, here again, a kid coming in with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So
something to prove.
Hopefully, like I said, he comes out and proves something to us. So, I mean, I'm not expecting him to turn into the next Adam Thielen or anything, but we'll see
We've had a couple of those types come through already and
Mhm.
never panned out. So
Yeah. Chad Beebe's and,
yeah,
he's got the pedigree anyway. So, he might be able to carve himself a niche on the team or at least onto the
Zylstra.
practice squad. So we'll see how he goes there.
Yeah.
Then we took another wide receiver, kid out of Indiana, Wap Fillier. Now, I don't remember what his real name is, but his nickname is Wap. And the reason why they call him Wap is because when he was a
He's got
kid,
wet ass pussy.
no, not that.
Okay.
No, that's WAP.
Oh, okay,
This is
my bad.
WHOP. No, we're not.
Shit.
And we're
my
not
bad.
playing that freaking song on this show ever.
Macaroni in a pot.
No, but his nickname is Wap because when he was a kid, he'd go to Burger King all the time. Hey, Burger Time is a restaurant up here in Fargo. I don't know if anybody else
Also,
is
game monetary.
Yeah, but they've got good burgers and everything. But anyway, he would go to Burger King, and every time he'd go to Burger King, he was always ordering Whoppers.
Yeah.
So his nickname became Wop.
Gotcha.
Other than that, I don't know a whole lot about the kid, but I thought that was kind of
He likes
cool.
Whoppers.
He likes Whoppers, so it can't be all bad. Then the next undrafted guy, we actually took a kicker, Riley Patterson out of Memphis. So we got.
I heard Spielman saying something about wanting another kicker competition.
Yeah, I mean, right now we've
so.
got Greg Joseph, that guy we poached off of Cleveland's practice squad.
Right.
He was the only other kicker on the roster. So,
just figure that spot out, please.
Well, yeah, please. We want somebody who's going to go out there, make most of his kicks at least, and somebody who's not going to turn into a blubbering pile of goo if he misses one and Zimmer gets
90% and above. That's all we're asking for. Come on.
Yeah. So, there again, we've got a competition there.
Yeah.
Then the next one, we got another Ohio State kid, Tuff Borland, linebacker. Here again, I don't know a whole lot about him. You could probably defer to Ted Glover. He's going to know a lot.
I think he has a lot
more
of
about him.
time.
Yeah, but there again, like I said, I'm
not going to say for sure.
Yeah, and we'll kind of hit some of these guys a little bit more later on.
Once we can get a little bit more info on them.
Yep. Then the next guy, another familiar name, Christian Ellis, who's the son of former Detroit Lion Luther Ellis.
Hey, Kitty Luther.
So and he's a edge rush defensive end linebacker type guy. And I believe his dad played linebacker too, wasn't it? Didn't Luther Ellis?
Yep.
So there again, the bloodline is there. We'll see how the play is. Then we took another wide receiver. So we kind of stacked up on wide receivers in the UDFA range. Myron Mitchell, wide receiver out of University of Alabama, Birmingham. Now,
don't know much about this guy.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, I went to go look up some stuff on him yesterday, and I pulled up on ESPN draft profiles. Everybody else I looked up, they had a little bio and stuff on him. When I looked up this guy, nothing.
Does he even exist?
that we'll find out. I guess that is right. That is an unsolved mystery at this point, but we'll see. We'll see what it, there again, I'm guessing he's going to be more of just a camp body type thing.
Yeah.
But we've had camp bodies surprise us before, so we'll see. We get a little more information on him. We'll talk about him a little bit more, but right now, don't.
And then we got what?
Got one more
long snapper.
We took another long snapper, Turner Bernard, the long snapper out of San Diego State.
Oh, San Diego State.
Yep. So he was teammates with the safety we took, Cameron Bynum.
Oh, yep.
So here again, he's a long snapper. There's not much to talk about. He goes out there and snaps the ball for kicks and punts, and
that's about it.
So that's
he probably makes the squad just because of that.
Yeah, it all depends if DePaola versus him, who's better, or I put him on the practice squad so when Zimmer needs a scapegoat and gets rid of DePaola about week 6, so we can bring this guy up, and
it's got to be the long snapper.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the fickin' long snapper.
Yeah.
So that takes care of all the draft picks and the UDFAs.
Speaking of having bloodlines in the NFL, Wyatt Davis's grandfather also played football for the Packers.
Oh, that's right.
Hall of Famer. Yep.
I mean, we won't hold that against him, I guess, but
nah.
So now I guess we'll kind of just kind of hit these, where we think these guys are going to fit, who has potential to be a lot of playing time, starters, that kind of stuff. We kind of hit on this a little bit before. Darisaw obviously, is going to
day one starter.
Day one starter.
Zimmer says he's got to come in and earn his job, but we all know he's getting that.
Well, even
job.
Zimmer said, he said, I don't want to say he's going to walk in as a day one starter because everybody has to earn their position. But
right,
we drafted
it's
him.
It's just to lose, basically.
Right. And there again, Wyatt Davis, probably same thing. He's gonna compete with.
He's got to beat out a lot of tough competition
to
get that guard spot.
He's got to beat out Mason Cole, and even more importantly, he's got to beat out Dakota Dozier. I mean, that's a pretty tall task.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't know about that.
I guess he'll make a good backup if nothing else.
Throw some man in there too, though.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. Dozier's going to be
good luck, Wyatt. Good luck.
Yeah, Dozier's going to be a tough out, so we wish you the best. Wyatt, and if you don't make the team, maybe you can catch on someplace else. Like I said, Dozier couldn't stop water from running up hills, so I think he'll be okay. But
neither could Samia.
No,
they should make a tag team and join the WWE.
And Samia's still on the. Yeah, Samia's still on the roster also. So
yeah.
Then of course, Surratt, he's probably gonna compete with Nick. He'll compete with Nick Vigil for that Eric Wilson third linebacker type spot.
Gideon Wilson.
Yeah, or Ben Gideon. Yeah. So
I think Surratt's an upgrade over Wilson and Gideon. Honestly, I think Surratt's going to surprise a lot of people.
I see him getting a fair amount of playing time. I don't know that he'll start right away, but
he'll definitely see some playing time on special teams. Absolutely.
Well, right, and I mean actual, on defense as well.
Right, of course.
Then again, next we got Patrick Jones, defensive end. He's going to push
rotational, I believe.
He'll compete with Weatherly and DJ Wanham, and
a lot of these will play out.
Kenny Willikis and a lot of these other guys. For a starting spot, because we really don't have anybody. Right now Weatherly's written in there with pencil.
As of right now, we are having preseason games this year, so.
Yeah, there will be 3 preseason games, which is nice because we'll actually get to see these kids in game situation.
We'll actually get to see Stanley on the field for once. Not that he really matters anymore.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We get to see Stanley. We get to see Stanley.
Right. And we get to see him go back with his old school receiver.
Yeah.
Smith Marset. There's the winning formula.
There we go. That's the Montana to Rice of the next generation right there. So anyway, beyond that, like we talked about, Nwangu, he's going to be kick return guy, RB3 maybe.
Let's get some lightning back there again. Come on.
Yeah, and a couple of these kids, both him and Marset, they kind of drew comparisons to, with return ability to Cordero Patterson. So I mean, if we if we get somebody with that kind of electric ability back there,
well, that running back, he's got some of that, like I said, 4.3 speed. That's got some speed. He's just got to find those holes.
Right. And here, we've talked about before, kick returns are starting to become minimalized because all the kickers are kicking out of the back of the end zone, but
they will eventually be phased out at some point.
Right. But, we need to improve on the 69 yards of punt returns that we had last
15
season.
Yards, net yards.
Yeah. I went back and looked after we talked about the other day. For the season, it was 69 yards. I mean,
out of how many punts?
Yeah,
69.
Yeah, I don't remember. No, regardless, I mean, you or I could get 69 yards in a season returning punts, I would think.
Yeah.
And I'm overweight and got bad knees, and everything else. But, you know,
You put me out there for one punt, I'll get you 10 yards. I promise.
Is this like the bet you had where if we got Slater, you're going to buy everybody beer, which you lucked out
Thank
on.
God. Thank God. I was getting worried there.
Lance was about ready to have to write a big check for beer for everybody who's been watching the show.
3
so
kegs, my house, a
there you
Vodka.
go. So anyway, beyond, you know, Jalen Twyman, I think he's going to play himself into a rotational role, you know, third down pass rush kind of stuff. Obviously, Tomlinson's obviously the 3-tech starter, but, you know, Twyman will get some playing time with, you know, between him and hopefully James Lynch and those guys, you know. Then otherwise, you know, the rest of the guys, you know, are basically, you know, show up at camp and show us what you got and try to earn yourself a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to have 90 people on the roster to start training camp. So a lot of these guys probably won't see week 1, but, you know, if nothing else, they can work their way into the practice squad and, you know, be able to hang around. You know, practice squad's
We have
good.
a tendency to keep these guys that we draft on, you know, the
Mhm.
roster for at least the season. So
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see where these guys end up, but anyway, that we kind of beat the draft down here pretty good now. So we're going to go back to one of our regular weekly segments here. And we teased this earlier in the show. You know, it's something that bears watching because it does have a significant effect on the potential, not only for the Vikings, but the NFC North in general. And this is our weekly.
What the hell?
yeah.
All right. So now this week with the what the hell segment, we're going to dive into the saga that started Thursday afternoon before the draft of one quarterback from that team from Wisconsin. We won't say the name of the team because they don't deserve it. But Aaron Rodgers put out
We thought Brett Favre was a drama queen. Jesus.
Rodgers put out a tweet or something, or talked to somebody.
I've heard his agent. I've heard Rodgers.
Yeah, it's been supposed to be coming from multiple locations or whatever, but he basically came out and said that he will not be returning to Green Bay for 2021. Because so he said, trade me because I'm not going to play for you. And there was real hot rumors, you know, up until that San Francisco had called on him.
San Fran and Denver were going after him.
And San Francisco had offered the third round, the number 3 pick and a couple of other picks, I guess. And Green Bay told him no. And then Denver where were they, 9 or were they at 7?
They were at 9.
They were at 9. Our old buddy, George Payton, apparently, and there was a rumor going like right up until they picked that, and Christopher Gates touched on this on Drew and Ted's draft show, that it was all but a done deal that Rodgers was going to go to Denver. And then the 9th pick came and went and nothing more out of it. No. And then I heard later on that Peyton was doing his due diligence on it and then had been told that under no circumstances was Green Bay going to trade him. So then it never went any further than that.
Never materialized.
No, but then ESPN put out something that I guess one of their reporters or whatever had texted Rodgers to get a comment on it. And Rodgers came back with, you are more likely to see me at a family reunion than you are seeing me play for Green Bay this fall. So, and, you know, for those of you who don't know, Rodgers doesn't really have a very good relationship with his family.
A few years ago.
Yeah, he's, you know, from what his brother has said and a few other things, you know, and we've all kind of got this, you know,
Aaron
got the
Rodgers
impression
as big as the screen on my computer right now.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Aaron Rodgers is a douchebag. You know, he's for lack of a better term, he's a D-bag. But you know, so he's alienated.
He loves himself some Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. He's alienated himself from his family, and he was that's where the joke came from, that, you know, you were more likely he was going to reconcile with his family than with his team. So,
right.
You know, and then there was a little back and forth, you know, during the entire draft, basically, you'd hear stuff on it every once in a while. And Rogers was at Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby on Saturday, and he was walking around looking like
douchebag,
like a G-man. Yeah, well, yeah, walks like a duck and talks like a duck. It's not a chicken,
right?
You know, but he was walking around looking like a G-man out of the Untouchables or something like that, with the way he was all dressed up. And but here it's going to be something that bears watching. But at the very least, if it's anything that causes strife and drama and potential heartache for our rivals across the river over there, I'm all for it. Bring it on, because
get him out of the division. I'll be okay with that.
Well, and there's also talk. There was some talk. That okay, Green Bay is digging their heels, in which they should do, because it said Rogers came back and said, if you fire general manager, apparently he has nothing
making demands
with Gutekunst, the general manager.
Right.
He basically told Rogers straight out, told the team, if you fire Gutekunst, I'll come back.
Right.
So there again, that sets a real bad precedence.
It looks horrible.
It does, and if a team kowtows to those kind of demands, trade me because I'm not coming back.
Make him the coach, the GM, the owner.
He basically was the one that got Coach Cletus fired, Mike McCarthy, a couple of years ago. And then they bring in LaFleur. Cram up your cram hole, LaFleur.
Yeah, fuck.
Cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur.
Can't stand him.
But bring him in, and they've gone 13-3 the last 2 years. And Rogers still isn't happy. And granted, they had opportunity to get a wide receiver help for him, and in the first round they pick a defensive player again. I think it's 8 of the last 10 years they picked up defensive players.
Finger.
Yeah, I mean, they did finally take a wide receiver in the 3rd round or somewhere in there, I think.
The last name Rogers as well.
Yeah, Amari Rogers, I believe it is. So regardless, they'll have an A-Rod on the team next year, whether it's 1 or 2. But so like I said, it bears keeping an eye on. Anything that stirs the shit kettle over there, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of.
Me too.
Just because I'm not going to feel bad if Rogers ends up. He even made a comment, that, or his agent did or whatever. He just might retire and go be the host of Jeopardy. Well, okay, go ahead.
Right.
What is? We'll see you later, Rogers, for 500, please.
Right. Get the fuck out of here.
So, like I said, we'll keep tabs on that as it goes along. I think it's going to die down for a while now again, but once somebody gets bored, they'll talk about it again. So I guess, we'll kind of hit with that. But basically that's what we've got for this week. Again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in, especially everybody who's been tuning in the last few episodes. We've really gotten a bump of viewership. We're up over 2,000 views in the last 2 or 3 shows. So, thank you to everybody who's watching it. We really appreciate. Keep them coming. We want to get more. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe to the channel. Hit that little red subscribe button, and there's a bell by it. You can hit that. So every time we put out a new video, you'll get notified that that's coming out. But, again, I want to thank everybody. Again, you'll see this on our regular time, 6 p.m. on Friday. Make sure Saturday morning you tune in
to Drew and Ted.
Their normal time, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings. Check those guys out. We're rank amateurs at this stuff. Those guys.
You can miss us on Friday. Check us out before VR.
Yep.
Saturday morning, and then right after that, check out Drew and Ted.
Yep. Tell your friends. Everybody else. To give us a watch. And we, like I said, we appreciate everybody sticking with us. Want to give a big thank you to one of our regular people, Miss Mary Fisk. Want to thank you very much for the Vikings coffee mugs that you sent us.
They are very nice.
They are. Got them for the show. I mean, I got a glare on mine, but you see, it's got the Norseman logo on it.
I'm gonna bedazzle mine a little bit here in the near future, and you guys all keep your eyes open. You'll see.
He's gonna bedazzle it. It's going to be bedazzleific.
It's gonna be so jewelry and
Yes,
all sorts of shit.
It's going to be shiny and fun and all that other stuff. But anyway, like I said, that's all we got for this week. So why don't you take us out, Lance?
Thanks for coming back, guys. It's been a good week since we've seen you. The draft, in my opinion, was a great success. I look forward to seeing these boys in the field this coming season. We will all catch you all next week. Same time, same place, Friday, 6 p.m. Catch you then.
All right, we'll see you guys.